My Energy Ecliptic. Love's Circle Persona. Self-love, best love, world love. You knows my honor. Greetings. That be your host, Jameez Peter Bastion. In peace, prosperity, power. It's my honor to share my affirmations, visualizations, and unison manifestations in all satisfaction. The mind, body, and soul is to grow in all facets. Presented in procreation, this is MB9T Podcast Show. May you be at peace in whatever the action is proclaiming, ascending the greatest of all satisfaction like your goals a bullseye, your actions a dart, believe in you no matter the ending or the start for your life, must you claim it. Affirm, visualize, manifest. Damn, daily, never forget, and you progress. You are truly blessed. And today's topic of conversation, we go on to conversation, noises versus meditation, which is intuition plus inner power equalizing silence. Conversation versus meditation. Noises versus inner intuition. When we think of conversation, we think of the origin of how we've combated to the format what is now to be defined under languages. And my thought process through conversation, and having so many conversations, with the dialects that comes amongst how you will learn or taught such wording upon such language galvanized by your civilization, it takes to me the ability to knowingly comprehend that language amongst the emotional connection with the wordings, right? Which obviously, because the way that words are expressed can mean something differently, right? And not to be disgusting or nasty in that form, but fuck, right? It sounds like a fuck sexual pleasure between fuck, agitated, right? Anger. So in conversations, you find many diversion of dialects, and also what conversations I found that, at least from my knowledge, communication itself was a telepathic viewership that humans once used and galvanized in the utilization of comprehending one another without speaking, right? I found, for me, at least in my knowledge and upraising, that language becomes a barrier for that telepathic guideline for us to utilize in a lot of ways. And I galvanized that, like I said, because with language, if it's not by your surrounding, if it's not by such region that speak of such language, it's hard for you to now, without having that knowledge of your region, to go any other region and speak that same exact language and to be comprehended the exact same way, right? So Latin, Spanish, as we know, is cultivated throughout South America, but within all these countries, you have so many different dialects of Spanish or Latin, the Latin language itself, right? Same thing with again, English, to whether you have Old English to the American standards of English, so many forms. And for me, at least, I've learned that to be more of a problematic circumstance rather than actually hinging us closer. With telepathy, I've been saying this fucking word at least 10 times already. Galvanize. I swear, guys, this is not a new word that I learned or something, but I don't know why it kept just coming back for me to keep using in my brain cells. So I had to just catch myself. In that point, though, I can say I correlate that knowledge of telepathy, which is the emotional tact that we all carry as humans, right? No matter where you're located, no matter your skin color, your height, anything to that point, right? If we're to say we're hungry, right? Our facial expression, our body language among maybe uh, hugging our stomach as like, our face, being frowned down or like looking, our eyes gazing for this idea of that we craving something, right? Without language, you can use those sort of signs, right, to showcase somebody how you feel. If I'm lost of something, if I need to get something and I don't know the language, I could point, right? I can possibly draw out whatever I'm trying to express this to that person, right? And from that point, languages have its own barrier, but obviously with numbers, we all have the same numeral viewership in life. There's only 1 through 9. Every other number behind that is man-made, right? So for me, the telepathic viewership that that was the original language for human is telepathy for me. And like I said, with the sensibilities of being able to sense somebody energy, right, is telepathy. Being able to share the same expressional human expression, which is laugh, cry, joy, sadness, right? All these sort of expressions give us a perspective of what that person is in telling to us without us having to communicate overly amongst what is attempting to be said, right? So for me, in that format, in that expression, I've learned conversation have so many variation, right? So you have the different dialects of conversation, right? So within conversation, there's so many dialects of how you can implement such, which is either you're looking to be understood through communication, right? You're looking to have a point showcased through comprehension, right? Through like I say, through conversation, it may be something that you're looking to teach, looking to show or help someone see another sight or comprehension of something, right? Through conversation, you can express your own inner views of your either self or surrounding, right? The emotional thought process of why you feel about this or that, right? And conversation obviously can store what we know is wholeheartedly, like I was telling you before language is telepathy, and I believe one of the barriers that language provided us through communication and conversation is those debatable insights amongst the differences that we have, which align to the different warfare, right? Because we've now say, I didn't like the way you said it, or you said this, or it didn't mean that to me, right? All these become such a warfare because we're expressing words that become a view to our soul in a way. That's how much word become bondage for men and women in our society, right? We don't really see that the separation that it causes when we go about having such a strong hold amongst our viewership, right? So, like I was saying, the different dialects and conversation. If you want the idealization in communication is to place your word to match the action of what you're looking to be comprehended from. And a lot of time we communicate to just say things, but not to be understood, not to be comprehended, right? So another issue that comes with conversation is that factor that in communication, some people caring to implement either the education, the comprehension, right? The expression of thought. It's just more so of statements, right? Or just more so, what do you say or do to someone that's just saying things for attention, right? Not I'm sorry, not intention, but for attention, for the intention of wanting attention. I should say less, right? So you have so many dialects that causes friction within conversation itself, right? Because everybody have their own reasoning of appropriating and communicating, right? Sometimes it's just only to reply, right? Sometimes it's only to negate the differences that you're trying to help someone comprehend or understand from your viewership. So, because if you don't know those different sighting that comes with conversation, what that then naturally becomes, without any, like I said, intention, it's just going to become noises, right? It's going to be things that's being eradicated into your thought process as to be things of importance, but you would never be able to categorize which sets to be different, right? What this conversation for? Is it amongst me being able to share knowledge back and forth with this person that I'm speaking with? Is it based upon comprehension? Is it the knowledge of things? Is it the educational perspective, right? Is it the intuitive idealization of me, especially not the whereabouts of society, but the care about of what I feel intuitively for, right? And also understanding how much problematic that goes into conversation, because naturally debates becomes a part of that, right? Naturally the egos feed into conversation, right? So in a lot of ways, the human race we're fighting ourselves because we're I feel, especially with living in a social society with the social media platforms, right, that goes on to anyone or anybody being able to comment. We've overly conversated in things that we don't even understand. Sometimes nothing need to be said, right? Everything, we all understand that, well, at least for me, I learned that years ago, that my brain always got some opinion. My brain always got a thought, right? But it's up for me to be the adult. It's up for me to have the willpower over my thought process, and understanding that everything that is not needed to be said, and understanding that every thought is not the brightest thought, right? I have the weirdest thoughts sometimes. I have the freakiest thoughts sometimes, right? But those thoughts allude for you to understand which do you feel acceptable or not acceptable of sharing it, right? And that's the thing with conversation. We're going to the same process with our thoughts. Nothing doesn't seem to be unshareable. Everything is a go-to. And then a bigger factor with our conversational issue is that we want attention from our words. We want attention from our statement. So it's not really, again, the different perspective of being understood, perspective of teaching people. It's just more of the attention or the numbers that we want to see by having a soul, quote unquote, in this society called clout. So how do you fight this aversion of noises? How do you comply to the viewership for what's meaningful for you, right? So for me, balance is the key, and really what you can call success or not successful in your life. Sometimes I think a lot of us take this heed view of life like this is it. There's only one way. It's possibly maybe because of my I guess with birth sign, right? Me being a Libra, but I wholeheartedly as a human being confine myself in balancing every formidable way, because the reason behind that is that you understand. Not first of all, the human race, we're imperfect, but you also understand that like being being on one side of either a pole or being on one extreme side of a situation only hinder, the opposite side, right? It's like the pendulum swinging left to right. And at least for me and my knowledge, I believe balance is key for that. So the same way I educate with this process of conversation is the same way I educate somebody with wellness and fitness. I do know food is medicine, right? I do know plant itself carry all food. I do know we live in 2025. I do know our system based upon our country, our government is controlled by the manufactured companies that's running the societal the societal views of what food is, right? Which then goes into the craving and tasting, which then goes into the processing of food, right? Which then goes into the capitalism of businesses that want to look into the revenue that they make rather than the health aspect that they're giving the people. So I break that down within the balance of saying that understanding that I'm in a place, or at least in a society that doesn't prioritize my care or understanding of food being medicine, I have to also understand that too. There's financial decision making that goes into that, meaning that because I'm not fully financial structured or stabilized to myself to where I can grow my own food or eat whatever I want to eat, the balance of me knowing my knowledge that food is medicine goes into me keeping the wellness incorporated in my life from my health perspective, right? Whether it's the ginger, turmeric, things of that nature, understanding the natural ways that I can fight sickness like cold, flu, things of that nature, to where I understand if I take something from the pharmaceutical perspective, right, the man-made medicine, that naturally I'm coming out with some side effect. Naturally that there's some sort of component that's mixed with that compound that's not naturally ill to heal my body, right? It's ill to treat my body, but again, with treatment comes side effect. So with that balance goes to me to say, listen, sometime, bro, you want to eat the healthiest as possible. I'm a fake plant-based, and I say that easily and joyfully because, yeah, I know everything that's coming from spinach, cilantro, a fucking firebomb salad, having some chickpeas in there, you name it, some cut beets, whatever, right? But that shit might cost me, I don't know, add some brown quinoa rice, whatever the case, right? But that salad right there might cost me $20 to $25. So I do that five times out the week. I'm looking at what? Fucking $125 for 5 meals, right? So you looking at now, you can get a burger, fried drink, and some fucking dessert for about $5, $6, right? So it's like you in the system, and there's a game being played, right? And it's Saturn to that point again. Yeah, we know we should have the best trust in our government, but we also know that's not the case. So it's a big balance that you must have amongst that. Like, hey, if I can be plant-based 100% of the time, I definitely will. If my spiritual lifestyle allows me to live that lifestyle that I know and I want, then I'm going to do that, right? And that's the process of knowing better and do better. So that's for me. But then again, if it's not your thing to understand that, listen, these processed food are killing you, they're destroying you, and you don't feel like it's hindering you, then it's your life to live. And you must live the best life that you feel it is to live. If that's that, then that's that. But if you understand it, you know better, and you see the effects, and you don't feel good by eating these processed food, then you must know you have to be that person to make that change. You must know you have to be that person that says, hey, this is ain't right for me, and I'm not going to point the finger at at this society, or am I going to fall a victim short to the society being and doing? You have to say, I set the point of like, okay, if I decide to eat bad, I'm going to take the accountability, and I understand what's going to come with that. You have to take the ownership on your ship. You have to take the accountability in this life you live. So in the same point of different conversation that comes and go in your life, that's flying through your timeline, that's flying through your text messages, that's flying through your work, that's flying through the different friendships that you just abiding but you're not respecting, or maybe let's not you say abiding or respecting, but the different variation of noises that form conversations, right? What is the balance with that? What is the balance? The only way you can simplify that is comprehending meditation. And meditation is, again, it's the same utilization which varies in either you visualizing the being, the doing, the things, the action that you're accomplishing, right? That's another form of meditation. It's not just simple, just you go into a child pose, you breathe, you close your mouth, it's inhale, inhale, exhale. Yes, that's the simplest knowledge in meditation, because it's one of those things. It's just a reminding. It's a reminder to let go of either the physical action going on in your surrounding. It's reminding you to let go of either the internal detriment that you may have for yourself, right? That's the easiest form, is just breathe, right? But within breathing itself, you still are able to visualize, right? Within breathing itself, you're still able to affirm, right? You don't necessarily have to physically say the words, but your mind is a powerful vessel that can speak the actions into the existence by your thoughts, right? So you can affirm through thoughts and words, right? You can find the inner purpose through meditation, setting the groundsmanship in your days, past and present, in regards to the people, places, and things. So with meditation, this is the best balance to decreed the conversations that's not needed, right? And a lot of time, for most of us, we don't understand the potency of meditation and how much being within our own silence allow us to engage more into our spiritual knowledge of the world, right? Sometimes within our own silence can we get a better comprehension of the people, places, and things that we're dealing with, right? Sometimes within our own silence are we able to forgive ourselves, right? Sometimes within that same silence are you able to comprehend why you did such things, right? Within that own silence, within your own silence, can you confine to like the rights, the wrongs for you? So in so many forms of meditations, visualizing, breathing, affirming, standing still in silence, sitting still in silence. Daydreaming is another form of meditating. To be in you, to do what you feel as to be and do, is another form of meditation. Silence is a powerful conversation. And a lot of times what you'll realize, those that don't have that self-care, self-love, self-trust, they have a battle, they have an issue with silence. And the best thing that they can do at any moment where silence propel itself is to kill silence with noise, right? To avoid the thought of having to answer to themselves. So you know what? Let me propel noise to give me another viewership, right? Another insight, rather than my own insight, but let me tap into whatever social media say is or doing by scrolling, right? Let me tap into this other artist viewership through whatever they're saying through their music, right? Silence allows you to stay firm within yourself, to find your intuitive inner power. Silence gives you the ability to know that there's no perfection beside what you're seeking in perfection. The beauty in conversation is when we find the ability when we find the understanding to communicate with reasoning and purpose that eludes such comprehension, that eludes such knowledge and teaching, education, that allows us to see the artistic creativity ways that we can express ourselves by either, again, those poetic ways that we can articulate by music, the emotional graph that we can have in communication, in conversations, right? The high frequency that we can share with one another when it comes to iron sharpen iron. There's a lot of beautiful things in conversation, same way there's a lot of negative things, right? Which I already derailed in so many formats that a lot of us learn to talk, right? Especially obviously from baby's perspective, we learn to mimic. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? The coolest thing as a young child, a young boy, and between the age of 10 to 12 years old, was learning curse words from the aspect, oh my God, I'm getting away with these such bad words, right? But again, you don't know the misspells or the cast spells that you're displaying on yourself. You're just doing like they say, when you're in Rome, you do what the Romans do. You're just doing monkey see, monkey do. So conversation can ruin or rule a nation. And again, if you don't have a comprehension of understanding through conversation, there's going to be a lot of overstanding barrier that gets into the way of what such means or how you want it to be said. How many times you heard it's not what you say, it's how you say it? Well, that's clearly because conversation now became an issue to how we're going to define the truth and how we're going to define the lies. Because truth shouldn't have no emotional attachment rather than the absolute truth. But because conversation doesn't mean that to represent the dialect of comprehension, education, like I was saying, those things in that format, it only means to express and to express whatever you feel or deem without having any truth behind it is the reason why these conversations have derailed us into a war rather than to peace. So in conversation itself, like I said, with the outer noise, meditation, what I'm saying for the most part is that this is how you counsel your inner noise. This is how you propel that balance of, like, I tell you like this, we all share earth as earth beings, right, through the flesh. But within our mind, within our spirit, we already have our own universe, like a whole world within our body, within our mind going on. So for you to confine that balance with the flesh that you sharing the earth world with, you have to go into your universe. Those moments of silence they may seem scarce, that you have to sit and think with yourself. Those moments will only propel you to get closer and closer to your perpetuity, to find what such perpetuity to be. And sometimes, for some people, it can be a divine quest that feel like you're never going to get there, or you're so far away from it, or the life that you're living in flesh is so opposite to the spiritual life that you see or you fulfill for you. That's the truth. And some of us in the flesh life will never have that connectivity into the spiritual idealization of seeking a life path that was designed directly for you. Rather, you just may be intrigued upon having the success of whatever the earth world says is. Right? So there's so many views of how you would go about. For some people, again, conversations are beautiful things. If they can't have that ability or care enough to find a life path, why the fuck would I care to meditate? Why the fuck would I care to understand myself, right? If that's not something that interests me or is a part of my journey, right? It's, for that, I've simply comprehended, like I said, same thing with balance. For a lot of spiritual people, you have a fight because you're trying to save a world that for some people in that world don't give a fuck about saving. So in that same format comes from where you have a lot of people that do for a lot of people, right? It's like the world complaining. You may have some people out there, it's like, oh, I hate millionaires. I don't know why they want all that money, this, that, and the third, blah, 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 right? So you don't want the risk of a millionaire, but you want the reward of having millions, right? And that's the thing. It's like everybody's path is not ordainedly going to be balanced to be the same, and also all of us are not fighting or living for the same things. I cannot tell somebody that dreams to be a trillionaire that, oh, his life path is terrible, he's messing up the world, because his goals or his spiritual views is that like he's gonna have enough money. Maybe he's gonna help do things for the world, or maybe he just want it all for himself. Maybe he just want to keep that for every lineage that he know that's gonna come after him. I cannot tell you that's a bad person. I can't tell you a person that don't want to work, that just want to eat and live off the earth and teach people that simple method is a bad plan too. Spectrum of understanding, spectrum of respect. That's the dialect that you must have. Everybody's going to have their path. As long as you in your path, then you in the best path. You in the best path. And no other path shouldn't be confined into limiting whatever you want for yourself. So thank you for your time. Understanding by overstanding through comprehension. Self-love is the best love. That's the only way we can unite to world love. So from this journey, I'm hoping that you learn to communicate with purpose. I'm hoping that you learn to communicate with those souls that's sharpening your blade as you're sharpening their blades, right? And also, you don't take it too offensive when there is some souls that just not intriguing for knowledge, not intriguing for your path. I think the best thing is accepting people for who they are and moving forward with the life that you want to go with, right? Severe ties before ties burn. I don't think we need to be in a place where if you're not a part of my liking, then I must hate you, right? Or I must dislike it. Polarity must be comprehending that like it's life is gonna be the extreme of, again, like between love and hate, right, is one pole. But right between the medians, right, before it get closer and closer, you're gonna have between love, the median for that is gonna be like. For hate, the median for that is going to get disliked, right? So in that correlation, everything in life is going to have its opposite. The best respect that you can have for life is to respect your opposite. It's not for you, but doesn't mean it's something bad for anyone else. It's just something where you have to, in life, you can look, but also understand that what you're looking at can give you a view that you may not want to see. So be wise for what you're looking, because you may have to look away. You don't need to fight what you look and say, oh my God, that's terrible. We don't need it in this world, this, that, and the third. And that's a division and conquering that's going into our society. If you're LGBTQ, you feel like everybody should be LGBTQ. If you're a straight heterosexual male and woman, you feel like that's procreation. That's how it should be. Realistically, I'm a heterosexual male, so yeah, that's what I want the world to be. But realistically, I can't confine to you that the creator of life made every man straight. The creator of life made every woman straight. That some people didn't grow up in a situation, or whether they was pushed into that reasoning for that change, whether they spirit guides them or I can't define that, guys. But the one thing I can tell you is me knowing me, and I understand that differences exist. I'm going to respect differences, but I'm not going to have to accept differences, if that makes sense. You can respect something without having to accept it. You can respect everything without having to accept everything. It's just simple as that. Don't make this beautiful life be something harmful. It's like the journey of manifesting. We all have that power to manifest, but how are you manifesting? And what energetic field are you utilizing to manifest? Is that a negative field? Is it a positive field? So if it's all been true from my statement, back to you, I'm going to tell you, keep it real. Keep it truthful. So put it together. Let's keep it trill. Remain youthful. Mind, body, and soul. That's the goal. You got to grow in all facets. Again, this has been another episode of MB9T Podcast Show. I'm your humble host, Jamex Peter Bastion. It's a beautiful thing that as I'm recording this, oh my God, I have an injured, looks like an injured bunny. He's looking at me, so I'm guessing he want me to aid him somehow. So I'm going to get up out of here, man. I never seen something like that. His spirit, he or she spirit, I can't say I know their sex right now. He or she spirit's calling out for me. So let me see what I can do for them. Peace, prosperity, power. Y'all have a great day out there. Don't forget to love yourself. Look in the mirror. And if you don't love yourself, I do love you. So somebody out there for you. Hello.